Fellow citizens, comrades, and patriots, this is General Miguna speaking to you from exile. We saw the chaotic manner in which despot Muigai Nje Metameta and conman Raila Odinga shambolically unveiled the BBI handshake at the Bomas of Kenya. They humiliated their own deputy of Jubilee and deputy president. They shouted at fellow members of parliament. They jeered, they booed, they danced, they behaved as goons in an event that was supposed to be solemn, that was supposed to be respectful, that was supposed to be representative of quote-unquote a united eating cabal. They couldn't even sit respectfully and be able to deliver their fraudulent report to the compromised media. So here you are with a despot who stole elections and instigated the bloodbath that followed the fraudulent announcement of his fake victory in 2017, saying that he needs 16 hand-picked Kanu orphans to tell 56 million Kenyans the way forward to answer the question of electoral violence, how to end it, when in fact he caused it. Uhuru Kenyatta knows that the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was enacted by 68% of Kenyans. That was 68%, close to 70%. That is the number of Kenyans that enacted the Constitution of Kenya 2010, which he has refused to implement, which he has refused to enforce, which he has refused to obey, which he subverts, he disobeys, he disrespects, he abuses, he trashes. So a man who trashes a constitution is now pretending that he is ready and willing to implement a mayor report that has been poorly written by 16 Kanu orphans. There is no way that this man can be taken seriously, and there is no way he can deceive Kenyans. A mayor report is not even legislation by the MCAs at the county level. A mayor report which is not even government policy. A mayor report which is not even an enacted act of parliament. A mayor report that is not even a policy document from the constitutional commissions is not enforceable because it does not have the strength of law. There is no mechanism of enforcing it, of implementing it. But even if it was going to be implemented, a man who subverts the constitution cannot implement it. Number two, this man says that we forget about 2030 vision, the one that they have been singing about since 2006, 2030 vision. All of a sudden, they are now talking about a 50-year vision, which means that every time we are close to the landmark, we are close to a time when we have to reflect and say, the goal that we set for ourselves, did we achieve it? Why didn't we achieve it? They remove the goalpost and move it 50 years ahead, so that they are the ones and their children, the demagogues, that purportedly were God chosen. Uhuru said leaders were chosen by God. A fallacy, a lie, an open fraud on the Kenyan people. All children are born naked, unable to talk, unable to walk, unable to lead. All children, rich and poor, tall or short, regardless of the ethnicity of the children. There is no child that was born a leader. Kenya is not a monarchy where children are born and inherit positions of power. If Uhuru Kenyatta's thought is that when he says that, we are going to think that his family, the Moi family, the Odinga family, are automatic leaders, we are telling him no. But I want to tell patriots this. This report was a trick, was a ploy, was a game, was a red herring. The Luo say a red herring is a fish that is a decoy for the most vicious animals in water. When you see a red herring going north, you must know that the vicious animal, a whale or a hippopotamus, is going exactly south. The reason why this BBI handshake was delivered in the manner in which it was is because it was changed. A day before Bomas, the compromised media announced that the president was going to be for 7 years, one term. That's what they said was in the BBI report that had purportedly been delivered to Uhuru J. Meta at State House. Yet, at the Bomas of Kenya, the report that now has been distributed to the people says that the so-called president is a monarch that will have 2 terms and will lead everybody, including parliament, the judiciary, the civil service, all institutions of government. Essentially what Uhuru's father, Jomo Kenyatta, the land grabber, the thief, the political assassinator, the tribalist, the one who institutionalized the culture of impunity in Kenya and caused havoc that we are still suffering from, did at the Limuru Conference, KANU Limuru Conference of 1966. He destroyed KANU, a nationalist liberation movement, kicked Raila's father from KANU, and used Mboya to choreograph a constitutional change that made him from a representative elected prime minister into a monarch, calling himself president. Kenyatta did that in 1966. Immediately after he did that, he killed Pio Pinto Gama, one of the most brilliant political strategists and ideologues Kenya has ever had. Immediately after killing Pio Pinto Gama, he turned his guns on Argueng Skodhek, who was shot in his car that was made to look like a motor vehicle accident. Argueng Skodhek, who had been Kenyatta's lawyer during the Kapenguria trials, was murdered by Kenyatta himself. He couldn't stand seeing a brilliant Kenyan that could be able to provide vision and transformative leadership for the country. Immediately he killed Argueng Skodhek, he turned his guns on Tom Joseph Mboya, the most brilliant politician Kenya has ever had since independence. He killed Mboya in broad daylight. Then he turned his guns on every brilliant Kenyan that was progressive, that was socialist, that was transformative, that had vision. He jailed Tom Okello Dongo. He jailed Achieng' Oneko. He jailed Wasonga Sijeyo. He jailed Okuto Bala. He jailed Ochola Makanyengo. He jailed Bildad Kagia. He jailed even Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Raila's father. He jailed all the leaders that were opposing the land grabbing, the tribalism, the political assassinations, and the transformation of KANU from a liberation movement to an ethnic, chauvinistic, corrupt, despotic political outfit. That is what Uhuru Kenyatta wants to do right now. He wants to make Kenya a one-party state, both de facto and de jure. In 1982, that's what Moi did after the failed attempted coup by Raila Odinga that led to the mass murder of 57,000 young Luos in the military. The entire Air Force was decimated and destroyed. The University of Nairobi and Kenyatta University were decimated and destroyed. Tens of thousands of young university students were detained without trial, were tortured and jailed on trumped-up charges, were exiled, and were pauperized. That's the agenda that Raila Odinga, the conman, and Uhuru Kenyatta have for Kenyans. This is not good because they want to pretend that they are not happy with what was written by their own 16 hand-picked hacks in the BBI report so that they could say that they are taking it to the people so that they can organize through Matiang'i, through Kibicho, through the National Security Intelligence, through the provincial administration, choreographed crowds to change, to mutilate what they had already presented so that they can create the position of Prime Minister with a lot of power for Uhuru Kenyatta so that Uhuru Kenyatta can become the Putin of Kenya. That is what is on take. And because these new proposals will present fundamental restructuring of the executive, they would require a referendum. That referendum, the so-called BBI referendum, will be used by Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta to whip up their zombies so that they can create a new political outfit, probably called the BBI Party of Kenya, so that they can mislead people that this is now the new nirvana, the new solution to all Kenya's problems. By the end of it, we would have spent 200 billion that could be used to hire hundreds of thousands to millions of young Kenyans who are unemployed, to provide clean running water to our most poor and deserving in slums, to provide housing for the most needy, to provide healthcare for the most needy. When we say this, they say Miguna has been hired by William Ruto. So the question is, Miguna opposed Uhuru Kenyatta's electoral fraud, which Uhuru Kenyatta committed with Ruto. Miguna fought so hard until they conspired and removed him from Kenya after they had tortured him, detained him without trial, refused to take him to court, destroyed his house with explosives, and sedated him. How come I could not be bought then? Yet Uhuru Kenyatta was the legitimate president, Ruto was the legitimate deputy president, Raila Odinga was the opposition leader. They have billions of money, including public money. They have access to treasury. They could not bribe me. And they have not been able to bribe me up to now. So Ruto, who is out of favor with the state and has no control over treasury, can bribe me but not Uhuru and not Raila. Why? How come Uhuru has not been able to cower me, to muzzle me with all the power and the brute force he has unleashed on me? Because I'm fearless, because I have integrity, because I'm priceless, because I cannot be bought. So the story about Ruto is a ploy to divert attention, to create lies, to concoct propaganda, which cannot sell. That is what they are saying of David Ndii also, because David Ndii has seen the light, finally. I've been trying to tell him that the only solution to this problem is a popular revolution. The way that the Sudanese have done it, the way the Burkinabe did it when they removed Kompore, the way the Lebanese are doing it, the way the Chileans are doing it, the way that the Algerians did it, the way that it has been done all over the world. Citizens gather together in large numbers, in their millions, and say no. No to despotism, no to tyranny, no to repression, no to torture, no to political assassinations, no to looting, no to choreographed political games by the so-called dynastic demagogues. This is what the country has to do. And it is easy. It does not require any money. You just have to stand up and say no. The moment you say no, these 500 gangsters cannot defeat 56 million people. That is why Bashir, who was 100 or 1,000% stronger than Kenyatta, was defeated. And you have to remove all of them from the top and deny all of them the chance to occupy public office. And you have to seize, you have to take back all our wealth from them and revert it to the people and surcharge them interest for the period of time that they have denied Kenyans the resources that they stole. Then you jail them for life. Then you show an example that crime does not pay. Then you clean up the political superstructure. Then you give the country an opportunity of rebirth. This cannot happen if you come with some choreographed hodgepodge called BBI report and then impose it on the people. Raila Odinga is one of the most retrogressive, dangerous, corrupt, and conniving, dangerous individuals in Kenya. He must be defeated together with Uhuru Kenyatta, together with all the KANU orphans. This has to happen, and it has to happen in an uncompromising, consistent, and focused manner. And it must be led by people who have integrity. You can't tell me to unite, to join hands with those who have stolen, with those who have murdered, with those who have committed electoral offenses, with those who have committed economic offenses, with drug dealers, with goons. That is not acceptable. Remember that a lot of people who are talking about Matiang'i did not know Matiang'i 10 years ago. This is someone Uhuru picked from nowhere. Nobody knew him 10 years ago. Many of us have a history, a track record, a legacy, principles and ideologies we've fought for and advanced for the last 30 years. This man, this crow-eating man, came from nowhere. Kibicho came from nowhere. So, of course, you can pick up any idiot on the street and give them a tailor-made suit, give them an office, bodyguards, big cars, and give them a megaphone, and all of a sudden, you think that they are important. These are empty shells, KANU orphans that have looted the public resources consistently for the last 56 years. Ask yourself the question, why are these people like Raila, the conman, dancing around Uhuru, who has looted the country to death, with Waiguru and all the other thieves? The Auditor General said just recently that the most corrupt government ministry is Interior, headed by Matiang'i and Kibicho. Has any of them been arrested? No. The second most corrupt public institution is Treasury. Has Uhuru arrested 10 people from Treasury? Has any of them been jailed? No. The third most corrupt, probably together, maybe the also at the top 1%, together with Interior and Treasury, is State House. Uhuru traveled more than 300 times in 1 year. He spent billions of public money with nothing to show for it. Just traveling, junkets, with his cronies, so that they can eat per diems in 7-star hotels abroad. He goes with 500 people, mostly his family members and cronies and drinking buddies. This is how they have been looting the country. And we must stop this by removing them from positions of power, from public office. Public money, public office does not belong to them. They say BBI is meant for reconciliation and inclusivity, is meant for the rule of law, is meant for respect of institutions, is meant for making sure that Kenya is reborn. Yet, they took my passport, destroyed it, I've not returned it, I've gotten 15 court orders, they have not obeyed it. So what kind of rebirth is this? When you saw the choreographed event at the Bomas of Kenya, no member of the judiciary was invited and was not given a chance to speak. There was no freedom fighter given a chance to speak. It was councillors and hecklers speaking. They say Yashpal Gai is a great constitutional scholar and expert. Where was Yashpal Gai? They say Feroz Norweji is one of the best lawyers and a human rights fighter. Where was he? Where were the freedom fighters? Where were the constitutional scholars? Where was the committee of experts? They were nowhere, because this is not a genuine process of transformation. So you saw Junet Mohammed, a hawker, who has been given a quote and a platform to speak. And by no means am I saying hawkers should not be speaking, but they should be given employment, empowered in what they do, not imposed on state public events as MCs so that they can humiliate fellow Kenyans. If you want to unite Kenya, you cannot humiliate other Kenyans. You cannot heckle other Kenyans. You cannot boo other Kenyans. You cannot degrade other Kenyans. If you want respect, you must earn it. And you're not going to earn it by degrading others, by brutalizing others, by committing gross human rights abuses, by disobeying court orders, by threatening the judiciary, which is what Uhuru Kenyatta is good at. When you saw Uhuru Kenyatta laughing at the Bomas of Kenya, it was disgusting. He laughed like a teenager, a drunken teenager, in front of everybody, and made it look like he's so excited that people are abusing his own deputy that made him president twice, even if illegitimately. This is a man with no honor. So if he can undermine Ruto, with whom he was charged at the ICC, with whom he campaigned, and who campaigned for him when he was drunk twice, who says that he's not going to be able to betray anybody else? This is a man with no honor like his father. His father was made president by Raila's father and Tom Mboya and others, and turned against them and killed them and detained them and tortured them and grabbed from every one of them. The first vehicle Jomo Kenyatta had was bought by Tom Mboya. And look at Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki was made president by Raila Odinga. What did he do 1 month after he became president? He kicked Raila's behind. These people have no honor. So there is no way that anybody is going to tell us that Uhuru Kenyatta all of a sudden has become some kind of angel. Uhuru Kenyatta murdered Chris Msando. Let us remember that. Chris Msando's mother is still saying that she wants justice and accountability. She hasn't received that. The IBC was captured and we have not seen the IBC server. We have not audited it. And they're talking that they're going to transform the IBC without auditing the IBC servers. What kind of nonsense and rubbish is this? The police is still the same police that kills citizens, and it's not been transformed, and that is not mentioned. Raila Odinga has not mentioned extrajudicial killings. He's forgotten about Jacob Juma. He forgot about Mutula Kilonzo. He forgot about Dr. Crispin Odhiambo. He forgot about Dr. Robert Ouko. He forgot about the TGRC report. He forgot about the Waki report. He forgot about the Kriegler report. Raila Odinga forgot about the Ndungu report. He forgot about all these reports. We don't need another report to be able to know what the problems of Kenya are and who caused the problems and how these problems can be solved. Because the people who caused the problems, who have caused the problems for the last 56 years and continue to do so, were sitting right there at the podium. If you were to wipe off that table, the high table there, the problems of Kenya would be solved. So we must transform Kenya through a popular revolution by organizing and mobilizing the people. Obviously, I can only talk to Kenyans from exile because the despots made sure that they removed me from Kenya. If I was so useless, if I was so powerful, if I had no influence, if I was a very weak person, they would not have done what they did. That's why they have left all the weak people walking around in Kenya. The people that would not threaten them. The people they don't fear. The people that does not make them tremble. That do not make them tremble. I know they fear me. So I will be making my way back to Kenya before the next court appearance that has been scheduled in February. I will soon announce when I am coming. I am coming as a Kenyan citizen who deserves to be in Kenya, who has a right to be in Kenya, and who is not going to beg to be in Kenya. And I'm coming because I have a right to be in Kenya. I do not need permission from anybody to be in Kenya. I do not have to agree with anyone to be in Kenya. No one needs to love me or like me to be in Kenya. I do not have to support anything to be in Kenya. I do not have to be muzzled to be in Kenya. I have an absolute right to stay in Kenya, to work in Kenya, to live in Kenya, to travel out of Kenya, to come back to Kenya whenever I want without any conditions. That's what the courts have ruled. That is what the Constitution says. That's what the rule of law demands. I will see you soon. Viva! In case you'd like to order my books, for those who are in the continent of Africa, Asia, the Middle East, you can go to www.nuria.co.ke. Nuria is Nuria. Nuria.co.ke. For those in North America, go to www.integritylimited.com. Integritylimited.com. Thank you very much for listening to me. Viva!